How the heck are you guys? I am Fastidious. Welcome back to the channel, and we are talking today, we are speculating about who could be the next limited character to come to Watcher of Realms. Who is the next exclusive limited 200 summon raid-up hero that could be arriving? Before we get into it, I want to put the disclaimer that I do not know anything for certain. I've just been playing this game forever, since before the first limited character was ever even introduced, so I think I can make some pretty good guesses, and maybe that will be interesting to you, maybe that will be helpful. Regardless, maybe it will be fun. But here we are less than a minute into the video, and I'm telling you, I do not know any of this for certain. We're just going to make some guesses. That's the point of the video. So do not be disappointed that I don't have any cold, hard facts for you. All right? Thank you. I appreciate that. Let's get into it.
Fastidious.
Fastidious.
I've got three pretty good ideas who it could be, and I will explain the virtues of each. Here we are in the calendar. You can see currently it is Friday, October the 3rd, and there's no limited this weekend. So I show you this only to prove it can't be happening this weekend. So the earliest we could get a limited is next weekend. And I think it's very, very likely we will get a limited returning next weekend, or maybe even more likely the weekend after. Now, why do I say that? If we pop this old video up from me, I released this on September 5th, almost exactly a month ago, and you can see this was me confirming the huge news that Diao Chan was officially announced and was getting her first ever rerun. They did just do before this the limited selector, where I think a lot of people chose Diao Chan, but this was her first official rerun. And you can see here with the duration, with the dates, her banner began on September the 11th. So that was 3 Thursdays ago. And that gives us a lot of information because the pattern we have seen over 2 years now of 2+ years of limited heroes in this game, but really more frequently, maybe the past 4 or 5 months, limiteds run on a pretty defined schedule. I'd say it used to be that every 4 to 7 weeks, we would get a limited hero in the game. I think only one time ever we had more than 7 weeks between limited banners since their release. But recently, that timeline has gotten a little more defined and a little more narrow. It seems we get a limited banner every 4 to 5 weeks, like without fail. I will also point out, we've had a couple times where we've had a limited banner 2 weeks after a previous one, but all of those situations lined up with an anniversary event. So they were all around July. There was like July 2024 and July 2025. So if you take that out of the equation, the old range was like every 4 to 7, maybe 8 weeks, but lately it's really every 4 to 5 weeks. So if we pop the calendar open knowing that the last limited banner for Diao Chan began on September 11th, we can see here, that was a Thursday, and yesterday made exactly 3 weeks. So we know it's not this weekend. October the 9th, next Thursday, would make 4 weeks. And then October the 16th would make 5 weeks. So these are the 2 weekends that would fit really nicely into their schedule. Gun to my head, I would say it's going to be 5 weeks, not 4 weeks, because that is more common. So October the 16th, I'd say maybe 80% chance we get it then. Then I'd say maybe a 15% chance we get it next week on the 9th, and then I'll say a 5% chance it's even later. But very likely, I'd say in the next 2 weekends, we will get our next limited banner for an exclusive hero, a 200 summon guarantee, and I think it will probably be October 16th. So now that you have an idea of when the banners could be coming, let's talk about who could be on those banners. So I really think, and you can argue with me in the comments, I'd actually love to, it'd be fun. I really think there are only 3 options. And I think those options are the following. We've got Kigiri, who has never had a rerun, and we are just about to hit 1 year since his initial banner. However, they are so aware of how badly the community wants Kigiri to rerun, and they don't seem interested in doing it. I don't know. Like, it is shocking. We got a Sun Wukong rerun, what, 3 months ago? 2.5 months ago? And he came out several months after Kigiri. He came out like 2 months after Kigiri. And we already just got that Diao Chan rerun. She came out, Kigiri was October, she was February. They know we want him, but they delay. Is it finally time to get a Kigiri rerun? This would be the first nominee, and then I'll make my prediction at the end. The next one is going to be Sun Wukong of all people. This is not because I feel like we're overdue for a second Sun Wukong rerun, a third Sun Wukong banner, but there are really 2 reasons. He is so good, he is so necessary for so many things, kind of like Kigiri, But I think the devs view him as the strongest and the best for new players, and I think that probably is with good reason. Kigiri really needs A3 or higher to compete with Sun Wukong in as broad a range of content as Wukong can succeed. It's really not until Kigiri gets that A3. Yes, Sun Wukong gets a huge power spike at A3, but he is already very, very good at A0, A1, or A2, right? So even your base copy, Sun Wukong's going to be pretty awesome. So I think that's the first reason. And then the second reason is pretty simple. I really, really, really try to stay away from leaks at this point. If people send me leaks, I just delete the message. If people tag me in it, I just ignore it. However, the chatter about the monkey is undeniable. So I haven't seen any written out leaks or anything official, but I've seen so many people on Discord, so many people in my comments, and even people on Reddit saying they think the next limited is Sun Wukong. And I don't think I would see 30 different people saying this separately, not even citing any specific leak or something. I don't think I'd see that many people chattering about it if there wasn't something legit out there. So does it mean he's the next one? I don't know. But does it mean he's probably getting a rerun soon? I would think so. I would, because it's just like where there's smoke, there's fire, and there's a lot of smoke, right? That's kind of what I think. The final option, I can't show you here in the gallery. This would be the coolest option, in my opinion, but also what I think is the least likely option, and that is a brand new unit. So I'll put a picture of Ryzen right here so you can see him. It is confirmed now that Ryzen is not a limited. We've known that since he came on the test server. I think I mentioned it in my video. He's just a normal hero. It's kind of like a Naza situation. I don't think they built a huge event around Ryzen like they did Naza. There's a 100% chance they intended Naza to be a limited and then changed their mind. That you could never convince me otherwise. With Ryzen, I don't think he was ever intended as that. I'm just saying it's a Naza situation because he is super, super good the same way Naza is, and they're both normal units. And that's pretty exciting, right? They're not limited. They're going to just join the standard pool. They're not ancient exclusive. They're just a normal affinity. So Ryzen will just be a Nightmare Marksman, and you'll just, once he's here, after that, he'll just join the regular summoning pool. And you will be able to pull him from your rare summoning crystals, your blues, and your divine legendary summoning crystals, your golds. So I mentioned Ryzen because he is the only new character that we know about, or that I know about. As a normal test server user, he's the only one I know about. We would really, I think, know by now if we were getting a banner in 2 weeks that was for a brand new character who was also a limited. They would already release that on the test server, or at least they would have sent us something, and they have not. So that makes me think, because I think the next limited will be in 2 weeks, maybe even 1 week, most likely 2 weeks, I think we can pretty confidently say that it is not going to be a new character, so it has to be a rerun. Their only real option was Ryzen. We know it's not Ryzen. So yes, of course it's possible, 2 days after I released this video, we get a message from the dev contacts and they say, hey, there's a new character on the test server. This is going to be the new limited. Go check it out. But I don't think that's likely. I really don't. So all this being said, we kind of have 3 nominees. There's this mystery character who I think is the least likely. Then there's Kigiri, who I think is the second most likely. And then I think it's going to be Wukong. I really do. I've really put my head in the sand when it comes to the leak stuff. However, you can't when it comes to reading comments and people writing on my Discord server or the official server, and there's just so much chatter. It's got to be a rerun, in my opinion, and I think it's going to be him. So I think he's going to be getting a second rerun before Kigiri gets a first ever rerun. If we want to talk about any other options, we have not had Reeve on rate up for over a year. I think that'd be a pretty good dark horse. So Gwendolyn has never had a rate up. I'm not on my account right now. That's why you don't see her filled out. And I feel like she might be due. They're pushing this new kind of North Throne meta, right? They've talked about it in the dev interview with me, Susie, Prospector, and Destined. And they've been releasing a lot of North Throne units, right? We got Ireless, we got Draylin, we got Kane. They really seem pedal to metal on that. It feels like we might be due for that. However, in her current state, and in the state of the North Throne, but especially her current state, she is not strong enough to come back. Like a lot of people, unless they're just going for Pokédex entry, they are not going to be summoning for her. And I think the devs know that. So I would think they will rerun Gwendolyn, but it will be once they're buffing her. And if I was them, I'd do it around Christmas because that's how they originally released her in 2023. And she has this wintry Christmas queen vibe, right? And then the final one I want to shout out is Dahlia, because Dahlia's never had a rerun. Dahlia is not very relevant right now, but she kind of fits that group of the few, like her, Kigiri, Gwendolyn, that have never had a rerun. That being said, while Dahlia's kit can be very strong and it is very unique, it doesn't have a place in the game right now. So I would think this won't be happening until they like release a Matrix 1 or something and we find out she shines there or she gets a buff, something like that. So for all these reasons, if they're going to do a rerun, I really think we're left with just Kigiri and Sun Wukong. And based on the chatter, Sun Wukong feels pretty likely. The one thing I'll say confidently is I would be shocked if we do not get a new limited by October 23rd. My prediction is October 16th. Then I think next most likely is next Thursday, October the 9th. And then I'd say the 23rd. If it's later than the 23rd, it would be because it's a Halloween fusion. If it is, in fact, October 30th, that would be a Thursday. That'd be the day before Halloween. And then the banner would run through Halloween. I think at that point, it like has to be a new unit. Or maybe they'd run Morden, right? Morden really fits a Halloween theme, so that would be a dark horse. He's obviously very new, but he's never had a rerun. So there's some other far out things. But I'd be thinking Nightmare Fighter. That's what I'd be thinking. Nightmare Watchguard Fighter, right? They both have the same dual faction. And yeah, just a speculative video, but people really DM me about this constantly, asking and tag me on my Discord and stuff. People are asking in the comments. So I haven't done this kind of like, ooh, what could be coming video in a while. So I figure let's do it. That all being said, I got to run to the airport. I got to fly across the country. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for tuning in and humoring me as I weave a web of Watcher of Realms predictions, and subscribe. That would be cool if you subscribed. Share with your mother, and I'll see you real soon. Bye.
Fastidious.